My name is Tristan Montanini, and today I'll be demonstrating the mySQL backend using Insomnia. First, we need to start up mySQL and enter in our password. Now that we are inside mySQL, we want to source from the DB directory that you can see on the side here that we've created. And we want to run the schema file, schema.sql file, and basically this will run these queries, will execute these queries above. As you can see, it's dropped our database and removed any changes made in the past and created a new database. And that's all we need to do with MySQL for now. So now that we've exited MySQL, we want to npm run seed to seed our database. If you're unsure about any scripts, you can check inside your package.json file, and under scripts you can see that we have seed here, which is a node script, and basically it just runs the seed into the database. As you can see, that's populated our database with this information above. Now we want to npm start to start the connection to our database. And we are listening on localhost 3001. So now that we're inside our database, let's get our categories. We have a 200 message, which means that it's successful, and you can see all of our categories are listed below. Now if we wanted to view by ID, we can actually check our IDs for our items. I want to look at hats, move into ID. Let's get that request, and it's successful, and we can view our hats. Now if we want to create a new product, we can post a request. Let's post, sorry, not product, new category. Let's post its test category, and it's successful on ID 9. Now if we want to update that category, maybe you didn't like the way that we've written this, maybe you need a space between there and to make it case sensitive. So let's enter in the ID that was attached to that item, send the request, and it was a 1, which means it was successful. If we resend it, it'll be 0, which is unsuccessful because the item already exists. Now that's not something we need, so we can delete the item. Next we can view all our tags. View our tags by item, by ID, sorry. And if we entered an ID that didn't exist, it'll prompt us that it couldn't find any tags of this item, ID. We can create a new tag that has the ID of 9. Our ID matches here. Let's rename and get some spaces going, and we can delete that tag on ID 9. And the same with products. View all our items. Let's view something that doesn't exist. Are you sure there's a product with this ID? No. Let's look at our hats. And here are our products. On the side, create a new product. Now the product model actually has a lot more involved. So if we view the model, we can see that we need to have a product name, price, stock, and a tag ID. Now the initial ID is auto incremented, so the database will create this for us. Now let's create this item. Let's create it again just so we get a new ID of 7. Now we'll update one of our existing items. let's view if our item was updated. We saw it was successful before, but as you can see here, the product name has been updated inside. Now, if we wanted to update, so we've given it a tag with a 1 in it. If we look at our tags, tag 1 would be rock music. Let's update one of the newer ones that we created. We'll name it item exists because we know we made a duplicate of it. Let's view 6. This was our first item we created, then the second one with the same name. And as you can see, the name has been updated. Now both of these names, in this item, we don't need this anymore since it was a duplicate. And that is basically all the key options that you need to know when using a mySQL backend. Thank you for listening.